Hey, do it.
I would.
Dude, he's got some big muscles, that AVRL chap.
I definitely think he would lift you into the bin.
Could definitely lift you into the bin.
All right.
Anyway, let's go. Can HEIST put blank in the bin? Or are they going to New Zealand their way all over this HEIST lineup? Changes, well, we'll see. We'll see which changes play out best. For me, I think this is a HEIST win. What do you think, Jordan? I
probably would be leaning on HEIST here, but I wouldn't be hugely surprised to see blank have a good performance. Let's focus on the game for now, though, as we're seeing that tried and true Roro onto the Farah as usual. Blank really liked this strategy last season. Looks like it's working out so far as well.
Yeah, certainly is. HEIST going to be able to capture the point. First up, Oily, though, quite low. Nox doing what Nox can. Try and perhaps get a little bit more ultimate charge, get ever closer to that EMP, but Nox almost does get booped off. But
here comes the fireworks, Ben.
All right.
Because Roro's got the rocket barrage now, and he's found a pick.
This is the time. Over, just sneaky beaky over the top, looking for a big barrage into the middle. Doesn't even do that, just throws it straight in. Finds 3, nicely done. Blank going to find themselves back into the point.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what you expect. I think Roro, I mean, at this point, it feels like Farah is definitely his best hero, most impactful hero. If you can get him on that and he gets a pretty good situation, then you are going to be happy. Now, we are seeing the change-ups from HEIST immediately in response. Bastard's gotten off the Reinhardt onto the Winston. Makes sense. But the more important one I want to talk about is Dalsu off Zenyatta onto Moira. Now, this gives them less damage potential, but Dalsu had trouble staying alive in that last fight. This is going to make it easier.
EMP available and used straight away by Nox. This could be a fight win almost immediately if played out smartly here by Blanks. It's a 1-for-1 trade right now, but they've got the point. It's ticking in their favor. They are now in the lead in terms of percentage points as well. Noz finds Bast. Mona jumps onto Duboy and Nox is picked back up. So Blank in prime position. HEIST just going to regroup for now and head back towards this spawn, find the rest of their players before they push back on in. The thing here for me, Jordan, is that without that Zen, there's literally no one to deal with Roro.
I mean, you're right, in a sense.
There's only so much Oily and Bust can do.
Yeah, you're right. But Blank are also doing a good job of working their big, impactful ultimates, just one by one. The Rocket Barrage or the EMP coming out in separate fights. Here comes the Rocket Barrage. You can see it being thrown out by Roro. Doesn't have much of an impact as the sound barrier comes down to defend against that. Now it's self-destruct in onto the point, buying some space, and Noz will get a pick with that. Now finally Blanker, well, again, I guess having more success, but in a different manner.
Yeah, Blank actually playing this out very smartly, coming out quite aggressively. Really, for the moment at least, outclassing HEIST here on Night Market, and they'll follow it up with a couple of picks. They'll get the point back onto their side of things and get it back going towards 100%.
I just need to figure out what they want to do here to work against this, what is essentially almost a counter-goats composition. Dalsu does have the Coalescence, which is kind of big because that is going to help them get Roro out of the sky, but the difficulty is that Nox is just going to be able to cancel that so easily with the EMP.
EMP will come through, actually not going to cancel at all what Dalsu was going to do, coming through it, perhaps a little bit different timing, and Jungle Jazz does manage to pick up 2 as well, so not bad, swaps it back across. Blank halted at 96% right now, HEIST onto the point. What do you think about this? When we look at the ultimate charge though, between Tongue, Roro, potentially Morton here as well, Blank are in a reasonable spot for this.
I find it difficult to think that HEIST is going to have much success here because Roro has been having so much impact on the fire, especially with that Rocket Barrage. And there it is again, one more pick, Transcendence out from Tongue to keep Roro topped up, and it's exactly as expected. All those players doing so much work for Blank.
The Primal Rage coming out from Bast. The last hope goes down very, very quickly there as well. That'll see Blank get the point back across in their favor. HEIST going to struggle to even get a touch here in this overtime. 99% is where we are. Oily there at the moment, along with Locust and Jungle Jazz. But with the stagger, it is only a matter of time, Elfishguy.
Yeah, exactly. And Blank is really, really putting HEIST in a difficult situation now. Obviously, not just so in this particular round, but in rounds to come, they'll be thinking, what is Blank actually going to be playing? Are they going to be going for that far? And if HEIST in the middle of a game do actually swap off to a bit of more of a counter composition of their own, that gives the opportunity then for Blank to swap straight back onto Goats, and that's how typically the cat and mouse game kind of works. One team will force a team off, and then that team will then swap back to Goats.
It's a cat and mouse where you're swapping between who's the cat and who's the mouse.
Yeah. You know, Ben, I've actually... This is actually quite funny.
All right, here we go.
I've got my sheet of paper here, which I normally write down the teams and who's who's winning what round and whatever. I've written down HEIST versus Roro, so I'm gonna just cross that out and put blank. But I think that kind of almost felt like that.
Sums it up, yeah.
I mean, obviously everyone else was having an impact, but Roro certainly with that fire was a real headache for HEIST and picking up the first round.
So what do you even do here as HEIST if you're picking team comps that can't really deal with Roro particularly effectively, and Roro is just so darn strong, Jordan. It's like Farah in itself against this is strong, and Roro on Farah is strong. Leaves you in a bit of a difficult spot.
Yes, it does. I think it means kind of HEIST is pushed into a situation where they either themselves have to force a swap or they have to figure out a way to deal with the Farah. But either way, it doesn't seem like an ideal option for HEIST right now. And they're going to continue to stick with this Winston Goats composition, and they do actually get that first cap up. But look at Roro, he's at 96% of the rocket barrage. Yeah,
well, it's what we saw before as well, Jordan. They get the first cap. We'll see whether they can hold it a little bit better than they did last time. Dowsu going to come out as well here with Moira, but the hack does come through, and it will stop it in its tracks. EMP available for both teams right now as ZeNox is about to tick over to 100% as well. But up to 22%, HEIST getting a little bit more value perhaps than we saw last time.
I mean, the one benefit as well out of HEIST running the Moira here as opposed to the Zenyatta is it does give you the power play slightly earlier, but it's a bit of a weaker power play with that Coalescence. So for Blank Esports, it's not too much of a concern. They haven't lost too much, and now this is where they'll come back and just basically fight with a vengeance against HEIST, who really don't have much to deal with them.
EMP will come out blank. Most of the team going to find themselves in less than an ideal spot for now. Roro and Morton, though, both did find Pixie. Self-destruct now from Nox comes through. So as soon as that EMP does start to dissipate, Tung does some work as well. Roro brought back to life. Morton in the backline here, chasing down Duboy. Look, HEIST do get up to about 60%, but Blank now start swapping it back in towards their favor.
Yeah, it's not too easy here for HEIST. I think at the point we're at, they're really looking to just die on the point and cap up as many percentage as they can before the flip does come across. I mean, obviously, Locust has been playing the Sombra since the start of this round, and that seems to have worked a little better for HEIST than what happened when they had the Brigitte. But I wonder if maybe something like even a Widowmaker right now might not be a bad choice. We know definitely that Locust can bring that out.
Sound barrier popped. Oh, Dowsu, see ya later. Roro, nice work coming out from him. Bus sitting there with a Primal Rage, but really getting forced back. Quite an unfortunate engage there from HEIST. It looked like they were in quite a good position in terms of ultimate charge. Now, they've used a couple into that fight and it came out with absolutely nothing. Now,
not much you can do about that, unfortunately, for Dowsu. So it's just kind of back to square one now for HEIST. They invested a fair bit in there, but the fight is over really before it begins. Here comes another attempt. Oily, again, you can see him trying to put some work in against the Farah, but EMP comes across and it's just utter demolition.
Look, if HEIST have anything going for them here, it is that they did such a good job the first time around here that they still slightly in the lead, 64 to 54 right now. Blank about to catch up, but HEIST perhaps they need to win one fight and then probably half another one. So we'll see what they can make of this. They need to get a good engage. They haven't had a good engage in at least a minute.
They might get just one more here before the end of this round. 70%, it's enough time for HEIST to have one decent fight, and they're coming up on the ultimates.
Yeah, HEIST are definitely starting to stack these up. Duboy pops this, the rest of the team holding on for now. Armor for a few players, but definitely not for everyone. A little bit spread out, perhaps. Self-destruct coming through from both teams. EMP used as well, looking for picks. Oily finds two. Noz only gets the one. Nice work from Oily. Could this be enough to get HEIST back onto the point? Roro does drop back, tries to get damage down. Blank and managed to find themselves 95%. If they win one more fight, they win the map.
I think for both sides, it's almost if you win one more fight, you win the map here. There's not really going to be much time for Blank to regroup should they lose one. And the same can be said for HEIST. Obviously that cap will come across and it's only 5% to play with. So it's coming down to the wire. Looking at this particular fight coming up here, Blank is in a slightly better position, I think, with that Transcendence almost being available, the Rocket Barrage as well. HEIST are really waiting on the sound barrier to come up for Jungle Jazz. Dalsu does have Coalescence, but that might not be too impactful at this point.
They use the Coalescence. The EMP does come out. Most of HEIST caught, as is Summer Blank. Roro managed to get out his ultimate once again. Finds two. Blank seemingly starting to win this fight as well. Very aggressive they were. Nice plays coming through from them. Up to 99% of HEIST, but the overtime, the capture coming out here from Blank. Locust, Dalsu both go down. Blank on the point, 96, 97. They should be able to pick up Leisure.
Yeah, Bus will just get the touch with Primal Rage, and he'll last for not very long at all, but it's enough time for Oily to get in there on the Wrecking Ball. Really, it's dire straits at this point for HEIST, though. We know that they're not going to win from here.
Yeah.
Sound barrier down from Jungle Jazz. Unfortunately, it's a fight too late, but even then, there was an EMP in the previous fight from Blank, so not much that Jungle Jazz could have done anyway. And I think that's just good timing from Blank, really. Those ultimates coming up in that final fight when they needed them.
Yeah.
And HEISTs were just a few seconds too late, unfortunately. But nicely played overall from Blank. And the way that that entire map played out, not just our second round, with the Sombra, with the Farah composition out for Blank. And going back to what they liked to play last season as well, where they changed things up. They weren't always necessarily on that standard GOATS composition. And they're kind of doing it in a way that Atletico weren't able to do it. They were actually making it work there. And of course, it's going to look a bit easier on control. But with that said, you know, if they can put that doubt in the mind of HEIST and force them again to swap off, force them off their comfort picks, which predominantly last season, Ben, was almost always GOATs. We almost always saw from HEIST. I think 99% of the time they were playing GOATs. I'm not making that statistic up. But if they're forced off that... You did the math, didn't you, Jordan? Exactly, I did. And if they're forced off that GOATs composition, that I think is where we're going to see HEIST struggle. They haven't had the practice on. They haven't had the match practice where Blank certainly have. And that is going to mean the Blank is the ones dictating how this game plays out. And you're always going to be a step behind if you're the one having to play reactively as opposed to proactively. What
do we feel about Roro here on Farah? Roro essentially not having to swap off at all. Obviously very comfortable here playing from the skies, throwing in those rockets. To be fair, doing a pretty effective job. The number of fights that at least turned in the favor here of Blank by a rocket barrage, by a boop coming out from the Farah. Do you think we're going to keep seeing that across these maps?
I mean, definitely on Eichenwald, it's a potential option. Hanamura, we may not see quite as much of it. The same maybe can be said for Rialto, but I think there definitely is options for Roro to continue to play Farah throughout this series. And the way that it's been working, you know, the way that he's been able to get impact, the resources that are being put into him as well, I don't see a reason why Blank aren't going to want to do that. It would go against the trend of what we've seen them run.
It would, yeah, it would. But for the moment, it's working. It's kind of like keep playing until your opponents find something to deal with it. And for now, it kind of feels like maybe HEIST struggling to do that. Next map will, of course, be Eichenwald. Our map, our week one maps, you know, going to be played all of the same, which is nice to see. And you can, I guess, it's easier to see some trends as well. It's easier to compare the comps that the teams are playing because they're playing in the same maps at the same time of the season.
Everyone's prepared for everything, really. But I don't know, is HEIST prepared for Blank? Is HEIST prepared for what they're going up against now? That's the real question for me, Ben. And what other tricks does Blank have up their sleeve? Because we did see them run quite a variety of compositions throughout the last season. Heading into Season 1 2019, well, we've already got a bit of a taste of what they intend to play on Lijiang Tower. Maybe the other control maps as well lend themselves a little bit toward that same composition. Once again for HEIST though, it'll be back to standard GOAT. This time Locust back onto the Zaire as opposed to the Sombra.
Yeah.
Dalsu still on the Zenyatta too.
Roro won't be coming out here on Farah, on Brigitte instead. So slight disappointment for me at least, Jordan, but maybe this is the smart choice coming out from them. Certainly had the benefit at least of being the attacking team, but we'll see how this plays out.
Definitely going to put a little bit more emphasis on Morton with this composition for Blank. He's going to get a few more resources put into him as opposed to what they had there on control. Straight onto the point already. Some good ground being made here by Blank without taking too much of a loss. Yeah,
going to try and push through for now, of course. They do not have a Diva to work with those, so HEIST are going to be trying to keep Oily alive and trying to see what they can do with that defense matrix. But Bust does get caught out there by Nox, and going to be the first one down. This opens it up now a little bit for Blank. Don't need to worry as much about anyone just sitting in their backline with that Tesla cannon. It can certainly be a little bit more difficult for your supports, and it, of course, makes it even more difficult to deal with Nox here, Jordan, coming through as well.
Yeah, Buster swapped over to the Reinhardt, which is probably the correct decision here. They really need that big tanky presence in front of them. Sound barrier down straight away, though, from Blank, and they want to go aggressive, and why not?
Wow.
They had the positioning, and it was really a scramble for HEIST to even get back to try and defend that point. All they've really managed to achieve to do there is feed a little bit more ult charge over to Blank, and once again, a super solid tank from Blank, and they have not slowed down at all since they got on. Well, they got on a roll from Control.
Yeah, well, they haven't slowed down since about 30 seconds in to a night mark, as far as I'm concerned, Jordan. And that first fight, it was a prolonged fight. At no point did Blank really lose it. They just eventually won it, I suppose, in the end. EMP available from Nox, throws that out, looking for a quick fight win here for Blank to get the payload moving. Dowsu, though, not in the middle of that one, does manage to pop the Transcendence. Locust sitting on the Graviton Surge as well. We'll see how and when that is used. Duboy pops rally. Grab does come out from Blank. The question is, will Locust follow it up? Not this time around. HEIST will start falling through, and Blank will find a fight win.
And the one thing that I really like about what Blank's doing so far in this series is they're not allowing HEIST any time to regroup. Every single fight, Blank is pushing forward. They're looking for those fights. They're looking for those opportunities. And Nox starting that one off with the EMP before HEIST is really in position. Again, allows Blank to really quite easily clean things up. And there's just no time for HEIST to kind of feel like they've got any breathing room at all right now in this series.
Well, that's it. It doesn't need to be a 6-man EMP. 3 will do the job, particularly if you can make the most of it. Locust throws out a grab right into the middle, looking to follow it up. Trans popped by Tongue. Modern holding on to the Earthshatter 4 now. Still waiting to throw it out. Goes a little bit low. Nox almost picked up. Bust going to be the one who goes down. No Reinhardt available for HEIST on defense. Modern traded back. That's a 1-for-1. Can HEIST continue to push through? No, that's the answer. Dowsu's found out as well. Nice work from Noz and Tongue. Finding picks there. Blank going to get the payload moving once again. 3:20 on the clock. So much time to work with.
It's just the same old story, isn't it? The ultimate comes up with the perfect time there for Nox to swing the fight. It was kind of going blow for blow, 50-50. Another attempt here for HEIST, but it's going to be tough for them even to get out safely with the ults that Blank have got.
Oh, this is going to cost them maybe. Modern, though, will go down. HEIST potentially going to find themselves a fight win if they play this smartly. Sound barrier going to come out here from Pura as well. This could swing the advantage back in the favour of Blank. Looking for a pick. Self-destruct coming through from Oily. Looking for a number. Noz, Roro both going down. HEIST in a reasonable position now. Duboy picks up Pura as well. Blank finally forced to fall back. 147 short of objective B.
Bit of a shame for Blank that Modern goes down so early. He did have the shadow, didn't have the opportunity to use it. But HEIST hold strong, at least for once. This is their first fight win actually here on Eichenwald. And if they can do what Melbourne Mavericks did, hold it here, it's still not a bad result. It's going to take a while for HEIST to charge up some of those big ultimates. Sure, we've got Graviton Surge, but we don't have the self-destruct to back it up right now for HEIST. No defensive support ultimate either. Blank are looking a little better going into this one, particularly if the EMP comes up shortly, which it will, 80%.
Yeah, that could be a fight winner right there if Nox can play this smartly. Modern pushing through now onto the payload. The rest of the team is there. Grab will come through. Tongue pops the trance straight away. Bust! Charge it on through, and of course, can come through from the back line as well with a big Earthshatter. Nice positioning come out there from the Reinhardt here from HEIST, and it will help win them this fight.
Yeah, the EMP just not quite good enough there from Nox. It really should have been the game changer, but it didn't connect onto Bust, and Bust was really the one that could turn that fight around. He did. That's the first decent shadow we've seen out from him in this series, and he was really part of the reason I think that HEIST had such a good performance last season. So far, haven't seen much from him so far this season, but obviously still plenty of time. It's only the first series, it's only the second map, and if he can get the ball rolling here on the Reinhardt, or even on the Hamster, then definitely going to be a good season for HEIST.
Shadow going to come out through aggressively here from Blank. Nice work from Modern. Trances pops. Grab comes through as well. Jungle Jazz, the first one to go down. Caught out by the attacking team's Reinhardt. Nox almost goes down. Just manages to get out of dodge. But as the support players coming through here, finding picks for Blank, John, and the payload moves once again.
Yeah, HEIST really needed the sound barrier down from Jungle Jazz in that fight, but he gets picked off so early. That's going to result in the second point being captured by Blank. Now we're into phase C. And already Blank looking to get some positioning, push on forward, keep that pressure onto HEIST. Such a good momentum-based team, Blank, here. When they've got that momentum, they like to keep it.
Oily sitting on this self-destruct, but 2 support ultimates available for Blank. That could put them in a good position if used smartly. Kura is low, doesn't get baited into using the sound barrier just yet. Staying alive, trying to keep that one for the team fight when it truly matters. The payload just kind of stopped in its tracks at the entrance. You're going to start moving once again. Looking for an EMP. That's the one we want. Nox with a huge EMP coming through, catches out the majority of HEIST. Trance is popped, however. Could this be enough? Bust with the Earth Shatter. Graviton Surge coming out from them as well. Morton with an Earth Shatter of his own. Nox is low, almost gets picked up, but it's Noz who goes down, sitting on that grab.
Yeah, just a little bit of extra sustain in this fight from HEIST does keep them healthy for a bit longer. Noz also not able to get the Graviton Surge out, which could have spelt the end for HEIST. Very nice from Jungle Jazz, not getting hit by the EMP, getting the sound barrier down as well. In fact, neither of the 2 supports for HEIST got hit by the EMP, and I think both of their support ults did actually come out. It's a big part of the reason why Blank was able to, or rather, why HEIST was able to survive through Blank's damage there. Coming into this next fight, though, there is still a lot for Blank to play with, and really not a whole lot here for HEIST. Bust, maybe with that Earth Shatter, to be the difference.
Yeah, a good grab from Noz could turn things around as well, looking for timing. Bust up to 95%, close, there we go. Grab comes through, looking for damage now to come out here from Blank to really make the most of this. Duboy Oily there, demanked as well. Finally, is sound barrier going to come out here? No, I don't even know where that came from. So managed to push on through. It's France perhaps that we're seeing come through, and Blank on attack, finding themselves in a pretty good position here. Perhaps one last defense available for HEIST. Yeah,
one last defense, and it's going to be a defense that they will have a Graviton Surge to work with. Also, no defensive ult for Blank, but I wonder if HEIST have lost too much already. Busts onto the Wrecking Ball. Locust now throwing out the Graviton Surge. This is where they need to turn it around.
Yeah,
and
no
the kills
support.
are coming.
Yeah, no support ultimates available at all here for Blank. Potential for HEIST to stop them in their tracks.
They're not on that point.
Ton finds 2, and there's no one from the defending team to get onto the payload. Oh. It's not what you want.
Yeah, just being able to survive through that grab by Blank, or for Blank, is just so impactful. HEIST start to back away. They start to feel the tables turning in that fight, and, well, didn't need to turn very far. Cap comes across there for Blank. No time on the board, though. They did cap it in overtime, but it's still a respectable effort, I think, and definitely something that HEIST are going to have to deal with, well, now, basically. I mean, HEIST have definitely not looked like the better team so far today. I'm getting the sense that Blank is always one step ahead of HEIST.
Yeah, it is definitely interesting for me, and I'm going to be interested as well to see what Blank come out here on defense. They ran a relatively standard attack, of course, with Noz playing Sombra, something a little bit different from what we've seen traditionally. We'll see how it changes up now when we swap things around. Duboy potentially there.
Yeah, probably not.
I'm
probably
ready.
Not.
Let's go. No.
He did that almost every game last season, hovering the far up.
Just play it.
But what we really should be talking about right now, Ben, is the defensive setup right now.
Well, that is the interesting thing for
quad
me.
DPS.
I'm ready. My body's ready.
I haven't seen it yet on Iconvolt, but I definitely think it can work. It's obviously a lot of wide open spaces here on point A. A lot of room to maneuver for Roro, a lot of buildings to use as cover. Morton on the Orisa is just going to be the one that will sit on the point. Get healed up. The armor helps there. Not to mention the shift of Morton as well. And Tung, I'm really excited to see what he can do on the Ashe.
Again, little for HEIST to work with here to deal with this Pharah. And it could be really the difference here. Noz trying to get a hack out there for now. Tung drops back as well on this Ashe, something we haven't really seen all that often, but perhaps more now. We're into the regular season. Everyone's had a little bit more time to work with this first fight very quickly. Going to go in Blank's favor.
Yeah, and this is what we want to see from Blank when they're running a composition like this. You just need to have each individual threat in a different position. Pulse Bomb actually does catch Duboy as he tries to back away, so even more of a stagger here for HEIST, but you could see Roro playing from one side, harrying them on the way in, the Ashe at the very back, Sombra and Tracer wrapping around the flanks. It's kind of like well, it is a quad DPS, right? It's a four-pronged attack from different directions. HEIST on the GOATS composition, they're not good at dealing with that. They're good at dealing with one threat in front of them that they can run at, but they can't do that against quad DPS.
Well, literally everyone's in different positions, throwing damage at them across the board. Noz does have this EMP available again. Potential for one good EMP to be the end of the fight, but Bust going to kick this one off straight onto Nox. Nice little leap coming out there from the main tank here for HEIST. The EMP will come through, catches out a number of players, including both of the supports. That could make life a little bit more difficult here for HEIST. Roro's still alive, won't be able to use his ultimate for now as well, and he's stuck on the ground. Wings are clipped. Roro goes down.
Yeah, really nice change up from HEIST with the Sombra coming out. The Moira as well to provide a little bit more, survivability really for Dalsu. They get that pick onto Roro, which is so big. Nox trying to turn it around, but I think this is looking a little bit too much for Blank to come back from, unless Roro comes back in right now with a big rocket barrage. He flies onto the screen. He'll get oily.
Wow!
And actually, might almost be enough to turn things around.
Noz wanting to get back on up to 2/3, 66% right now. But look at this. Blank managed to find themselves back onto the point on the back of, I think, some great dancing coming out from the tank there from Blank, either side of the shield. On the Orisa, staying alive a little bit longer, allowing the rest of the team to come back in,
Still going to be a big scramble out from both teams here. Unfortunate for Tung that he gets hit by the EMP.
Yeah.
Has got Bob and does eventually throw it down onto the point. Might be a little too late to turn the tide of this fight.
Just trying to use up absolutely as much time as possible here. HEIST very close to capturing the first objective, and they should be effective now. There we go, 3:40 on the clock, heading into the second phase here on Eichenwald. But a lot of work to be done, Jordan. At least they have some ultimates to work with.
Yeah, HEIST definitely recognizing what they need to do up against the quad DPS lineup and working around it quite effectively. But I don't think that that's too bad, actually, for Blank. It's bought a lot of time. They are able to swap off fairly comfortably here. And they're not too far behind on the ult economy because they do still have that EMP and the Pulse Bomb. So Noz and Nox will stick with those two DPS characters for this particular fight. Afterwards, we probably will see the swap. But I think they might even be able to win this fight off the back of the EMP. Depends how good it is from Noz.
A good EMP would definitely be good, Elfishguy, that is for sure. Aggressive play coming out here from Bust, popping the Primal Rage, but in a bit of an odd position, to be perfectly honest. The payload really not getting all that far. Bust jumps back down. Roro going to get caught out there by the lead. Bust eventually will go down to Tung. HEIST, yes, they've all been EMP'd, but they're still pushing strong. The payload now moving once again. Duboy onto Kura. The payload getting ever closer, making the most of this first minute here in the second phase.
A key factor there for Blank is that HEIST was all quite comfortable behind their rally armor that had been thrown out a little bit earlier by Duboy, and they couldn't really burst them through that EMP. So HEIST do continue on forward. Now this change-up has come from Blank Esports, but again, it's not like they've all swapped at once. We do still have some ultimates in this fight for Blank. They're managing their ult economy really, really nicely. HEIST still aren't going to have the easiest of time pushing in here. That said, though, they do have Locust with the EMP, so what they can do with that, what they can follow up, is going to be the make or break, really, for them getting past this bridge and capping up point B.
Yeah, Locust translocates all the way back out, throws out an EMP. Once he finally does get back into the fight, caps 3, or hits 3, should I say, with that particular ultimate use. And well, the payload does move through. Once again, Oily does get D-Mech. Roro goes down. Locust charging up already, back up to 35%. Tung pushed off the payload as well. Surely HEIST should be able to capture this second point with the payload in just a moment.
They will indeed, and they're actually now in a position where they might actually finish this off with a little more time than Blank did. Obviously, Blank's still going to get that minute on the clock, assuming HEIST does finish it, but obviously every second counts right now for HEIST. If you finish with 2 minutes, Blank's only got 1 minute. Then you're back up with a big advantage heading into that overtime, the tiebreakers. And the EMP will come up shortly. Lots of ults for HEIST across the board. This should be a good fight for them.
Bust into the back line. Kura has a sound barrier available, as does Jungle Jazz. See Blank use theirs first, but immediately countered there by a big EMP coming out from HEIST. Nicely played by them. Aggressive play as well coming out from HEIST. The payload looking to move forward, but now it is contested. Bust staying alive. Nox throws out a grab, looking for a follow-up. Modern gets in there, picks up Locust. Duboy goes down as well. Blank starting to stabilize. Just staggering this team comp as well. Jungle Jazz and I don't even know. Noz, I think, just getting out. No, sorry.
That definitely was not the fight that HEIST
Oily.
wanted. It was a good EMP, but just not enough follow-up for it. I mean, he hit 5 players, but this is swap back over onto the Xayah, back to the standard stuff, and this is going to cost HEIST a little bit of time, trying to charge the Earth Shatter up, trying to charge the Graviton Surge up, and Blank on the front foot. They don't even want to give HEIST any breathing room. Like I said, on the attack, they were doing that very, very well. Now on the defense, also doing similarly.
Yeah, Blank finally starting to stabilize here on defense, and now they find themselves in a position that they can actually truly fight from here with any sort of certainty, Jordan, and they're going to definitely try and make the most of this quiet and aggressive forward hold. They want to take as many fights as they can, as far away, I guess, from the payload as they can as well. And it's pretty close to the point, but certainly not close enough that someone can jump on it and get it going. So, no little sneaky beaky plays coming out from HEIST. Rally used now by both teams. Bust the first one down. It's an important pick coming out here from Noz. And now HEIST again going to be forced to fall back in behind Dowsu in the Transcendence.
Yeah, and unfortunately Dowsu with that Transcendence actually throwing that in there to try and keep Bus alive, but it's too late. So not only does Bus go down, losing them the fight, but also they don't have Transcendence probably for the rest of this map, unless Dowsu has a really phenomenal couple of fights here where he does a lot of damage and charges the ult up really, really quickly. HEIST are actually on the ropes right now. Blank Esports, they should win this map.
Yeah, Blank now looking in a good position. HEIST still with 50 seconds to work with. Grab comes out, I think, from both sides. No, sorry, just from Nox. Follows it up onto jungle. Jazz Bus goes down as well. Blank still holding on to ultims. Only Oily has anything to work with here for HEIST. 40 seconds on the clock. They're going to struggle to find those support ultimates in time.
They're going to struggle to find anything in time here, Ben, with 30 seconds on the clock. I mean, what we see out for Blank Esports is almost 5 ultimates. If this fight lasts a while, obviously Nox has got time to charge it up, but HEIST don't want it to last a while. They want to finish this one right now. They don't have a chance to have a long fight because that's going to give Blank the respawn advantage.
Yep.
HEIST need to win it. They need to push the point in, but look how far back the payload has already moved. I don't know if this is winnable for HEIST.
Yeah, even if HEIST wins this fight, there's going to be another one right after that as well. Trans-popped here by Tun. Self-destruct coming through. Looking for some picks. No one going down for now. Sound barrier coming out from HEIST as well. Roro the first one down. That's a decent pick. They want to follow it up with another straight onto Morton. Great work from Duboy. HEIST finally finding themselves an advantage. They've got some ultimates to work with here as well, Jordan. Look at this. Nice work from them.
Blank just needs to disengage, which they have, or they've all been killed anyway. They will respawn. They will get a chance to defend them. Look at what they've got to do it with. They've got the rally to keep them all healthy. They've got the self-destruct. They've got the graviton surge. Definitely a combo that can make this work for Blank Esports.
Rally coming out again from both sides. Modern onto the point. Roro on top as well. Kura in the back line. Grab going to come out here from Blank. Self-destruct on top once again. Trans from Dowsu. Should keep them alive, but Locust, no, wasn't close enough. Aggressive play coming out from Blank as well. On defense, they find Bas and Duboy. HEIST won't be able to get the payload across the line. Blank's going to go up 2-0 after Eichenwald.
Yeah, like I said, Ben, unfortunately, that payload had moved back too far for HEIST. It meant that they needed to win 2 fights in a row, and to win the first fight, they had to invest all of their ultimates. They had to invest everything, and then for that second fight, Blank comes in. They're almost uncontested with the ultimates that they have available, and it's an easy win in the end for Blank, even though it looks like it gets down to the wire. It was pretty comfortable.
Yeah, I think for me, the interesting things were the team comps that we saw actually come out from Blank on both sides, attack and defense. You know, a bit of a change up, something we haven't seen as often, really, to be honest.
And it's really making Blank, making HEIST really think about what they have to do, how they want to play against this kind of a composition, what they want to do to counter, and then they swap their characters off, and then we see the change-up adaptation as well from Blank. And like I said during the cast, it always feels like Blank is 1 or 2 steps ahead of HEIST in this series. And they say, Ben, that revenge is a dish at best served cold.
Yeah.
The Blank Esports, they were knocked out of playoffs by HEIST last season with a 3-0. Now it looks like they're getting their revenge in the next season of Overwatch Contenders. Up 2-0 right now. It doesn't look like they're keen to drop a map. It doesn't look like HEIST is in a position to really get any of these maps either, as both of the wins have been, I mean, they've been hard-fought victories from Blank, but they've definitely not been winnable positions for HEIST, I don't think. Put it that way.
Yeah, I've been interested to see the Sombra play from both sides as well, something that we did not see very often in Season 3 2018. So to come out Season 1 2019 and see some pretty efficient Sombra play coming out from both teams as well, that's been exciting. But Blank definitely looking like the better team of the two for now, maybe making better choices, playing certainly different team comps as well. I would love to see them go head-to-head again with just traditional goats. Not that I want to see it. I'm interested to see what the result is.
But I don't think that is what Blank wants.
No.
Because that's what HEIST wants, right? This is the two sort of different sides of the coin. HEIST wants goats versus goats. They wanted that all throughout the last season. That's what got them to playoffs. But Blank wants to be able to play these random compositions that they're able to change things up. They're able to force their opponents out of their comfort zone. And so far, Blank is getting everything that they want.
And if Blank find success here today doing this at the very first match of the season, that opens up a lot of different possibilities for opponents for Heist across the rest of the season. Now they've seen them taken down in this style. Jordan, for now, we're going to go to a very quick break, and when we come back, more Overwatch. We'll see you soon.